Well, we're on the street. This is it. There it is. We're getting very, very close. That's where Great Nan used to live down there. Godolphin Road. This house that we're walking to, this is where it all started. So this house behind me, this is 8 Grenville Road in Falmouth. A bit emotional coming back here, but yeah, that's where it all started. So Nan and Grandad Coulls lived there. I used to sleep up there. They've changed it a little bit, but yeah. Just going to go around the corner, have a look at where Great Nan used to live. Some of it's the same as it used to be. Some of it has definitely changed. Definitely a lot more cars. I mean, there never used to be any cars here. You could run around as a 5-year-old. Oh my god, it's all parking down here. That's the back of the other house. Okay, so now we're getting to where my great-grandma used to live in her older years. I used to come down and visit. So here's the tunnel. So we used to come out and she would be one over to the right. So it's this one, it's this grey one. Yeah, that's it. So I used to come in here every day and I used to grab an apple. And so she was Justice of the Peace at the court on the moor, which we will come to a bit later. But yeah, so that's where my granddad's mum lived. So now we're just going to take a quick walk back up and I'll show you where the rest of the family were. Of course, it's always funny with the palm tree looking plants. You'd think you were somewhere else other than England, but yeah, there's plenty of these down here. Yeah, I remember when all these signs were brand new back in the 80s. Now they're all overgrown and bent up. Yeah, this is a little old car park. And then across the street used to be the butcher's and the chip shop. I think the chip shop then moved around the corner. Let's go and have a look, see if it's still there. This is Lankton Road straight ahead here. Oh yeah, Old Hill Chippy, still there. So, okay, so I'm going to cross over here. So this is now Lankton Road. This is another very, very important place in the Coulls history. We can just see the top of my Auntie Margaret's house in the background over there. Let's just keep walking. It seems funny to think, but when I was like 6 years old, I used to run from Nan and Grandad's house round there to the relatives over here. And yeah, it was nothing to cross the road and just run along, and yeah. It's funny, I used to think that the sidewalks there were a lot higher up than what they actually are now as an adult. But I guess when you're only 5 years old, yeah, they're as tall as you are. But anyway, we're almost where we're going to. So this house here, which is number 54 Langton with the wheel on the front, that was my Auntie Margaret's house. And then when the family got a little bit bigger, she literally moved across the street to the end one just here. She was in that house. And then if we do another turn, this house right here, that would be Uncle Reg and Auntie Eileen. That was their house. And then a little bit further down, my great Nan, who you saw the retirement home that she was in later, she was down here. So yeah, let's go for a walk down this way. Seems funny to think this is the garden I used to play in 40 years ago. So this house here behind me, that was my great Nan Coulls, so the one that we just saw the old people's retirement home for. This is where she used to live. So as I said earlier, she used to be a judge down at the moor, and we'll see the county courthouse down there shortly. It's now a nightclub of all things, but yeah, so that was the house where my grandfather grew up. And yeah, so this is still on Lankton Road in Falmouth, but yeah, that was the house where he came from. So now we're going to continue down the place a little bit further, and we'll go down into the main part. Hey. So we're going to keep walking towards the town now. Definitely seems funny to think that I was allowed to do this. I was allowed to at least to go downtown when I was about 7, which again is something you'd never do now. You'd never have a 7-year-old walk possibly about half a mile to a downtown area on their own, but I was always allowed to do it. There's the top of Old Simon's Hill. There's the Lankton Road. And anybody that knows the story about the Irish, yeah, so the funeral was just down the road and on the left there. So yeah, that's where that all started. As you can see, there's a reason we're staying where we are, because this is the view that, you know, is kind of what we grew up with. So straight ahead of us over there is the beach where we were yesterday on the other side of the river, and we walked up that road over there and we caught the ferry to just over there. So yeah, that is the gardens there. So yeah, this is where we used to walk along. As I say, I used to do this when I was 7 years old. Funny to think that I was allowed to do that on my own. Okay, now top of Prospect Place. More of the same view, and we're going to continue just down. So we are actually just staying just behind this wall here. So we're going to continue down now. Keep going towards the bottom here. So the arch that we're coming up to, that was built in the 1980s, and that would be Uncle Malcolm was one of the construction workers on that. Yeah, it's been here ever since. There's basically a car park on the right hand side and some apartments on the left, where the more well-to-do live. Go another view of the harbour as we come down the hill. So this is what Uncle Malcolm built back in the 80s. Packet Quays. Got a car park in this side, and then there's yeah, apartments and things on this side. So now we're coming down into the high street. A lot of it is very, very old, but it changes on a regular basis. So most of the shops that are here now, whilst the buildings have been here forever, the shops aren't what they used to be when I was here. Going to carry on down the high street here now. Okay, so this is the Prince of Wales Pier. This is where all the boats go from. There's not too much going on this time of year because it's a tourist town and it's a bit out of season right now, but so we're going to continue around. Now, everywhere has their own Finn McCalls, but you'll notice the spelling on this one is a little bit different to where you normally see it. And you might remember, of course, my surname, so there's always a joke that it's named after the cousins and uncles and aunts that used to drink down here. So this is Tesco. This is where Nan used to work. She was behind a cheese counter back in the days when they used to have a cheese counter there. It's long gone, but that was the place where it was. And next to the Tesco here, this is now a nightclub, but that used to be the courthouse, and that's where Great Nan used to work. So the one that we went past the two houses and filmed just now, that's where she used to work. But it then later turned into a nightclub, and it looks like now it's a cafe as well. It's amazing how things change. Okay, so coming up on the left now, we have a famous staircase. It's a bit of a tourist attraction. It's called Jacob's Ladder. And so, as a kid, I think I ran up and down there every day, twice a day, for 2 weeks, and then we go back home and wait until we got a bit older and try and run up it again. I never did get all the way to the top in one go. Okay, so now we're on the main square. It's called the Moor, so that's Pennycombe Quick, which used to be the Woodhouse. So I used to drink in there a lot. And then, yeah, this is the main square where all the buses come in, the taxis were. You've got the Seven Stars pub on that side, where we got older, we would go drinking in there. And then the library is just there. And then, yeah, trying to think what else used to happen. Oh, my sister used to work just over on the other side of the moor here, just where the blue bus is going by. That's the convenience store now, but it used to be another supermarket. So my sister used to be in there. And then just up on the left is the best pasty place, Chokes, which is, yeah, just about halfway up on the left there. So that's that bit. So now we're going to do a quick turn around, go back down to the main high street and take it from there. Just realised coming back the other way, you can see from the old days when it used to be the courthouse, it's still got the coat of arms above the door. Didn't notice that on the way up, but I noticed it on the way back. So yeah. Okay, this here is Warren's, the oldest pasty maker in the world. That's Rose. I wouldn't suggest them. A bit too peppery. They're not as good as Chokes, not by a long way. Okay, so now we're heading into the main high street. You're going to see a bastion of the old high street up here, which is Marks and Sparks, or Marks and Spencer's. And yeah, they're going out of business here, so this will probably be the last time you see them here. Yeah, so this staircase here, there's always been a jeweller's next to it. But in 1973, that's where Dad popped the question to Mum on the staircase. It's still the same now as it was in 1973. Not much has changed, but that was it. That was where that happened. Okay. So there's Marks and Spencer's. Every August they have a carnival. It's like a parade. So we always used to stand outside Marks and Spencer's because in the old days the windows were slightly different and there was something for us youngsters to stand on. So that's where we used to be then. But of course it's all changed now. So we're going to continue up the high street and I'll show you what's up here. Okay, so we're coming up to the Grapes now in the high street. This is on a road called Fishstrand Quay. Probably this corner is likely the most important historical corner for maritime things in the UK. So the first thing we have up here, as you can see, I'm just going to zoom in so you can see it for yourself, but in a nutshell, when Charles Darwin came over in 1836, it was this corner. So Charles Darwin would have run up this hill in 1839, would have stopped here, got on the stagecoach and went back up to London, where he then wrote his book on the theory of evolution. So that all happened here, but something else even more important happened just down the hill here. So let's go down. And there's a big stone, should still be at the bottom. I think I can see it. Yeah. Here we go. This is the stone to tell us about the news of Trafalgar. So this is the second event that happened here. And there's the stone. If you want to read it, you can pause now. Okay, there is the Prince of Wales Pier that we went from yesterday, and that over there is Flushing. You can see the ferry is just coming in again. As you can see, seagulls are a little bit bigger here. They're like little dogs. They're bigger than your average terrier. They're quite large. That's actually a juvenile there. It's still got a little bit of the brown and grey around the neck. Oh, see the helicopters coming in again. That tower, if I just zoom in on this tower here, that's the National Maritime Museum. I have a cousin who used to be a curator there, but she's since left to go and work back on the boats, working with sensors and navigation. But yeah, she was a curator there for a while. Okay, we're going to head over this direction, but first we have to go back up another tunnel. As you can probably guess, this place is riddled with tunnels to get from the high street to what's behind on the harbour. Okay, so Okay, this is one of my favourite shops. As a child during the 1970s, I would spend hours and hours looking in this shop window. Mum and Dad would never let me go in, but as you can see, there was plenty for a young kid to look at, and there was always things that I always wished that we could take home that Mum and Dad would never buy. So that's where that happened. Okay, so we're now coming up to the church. This is like halfway up the high street, so you always know you're halfway there when you get to the bend where the church is. And there's been a few family weddings and christenings here over the years. So now we're going to go down into what used to be the posh end of the high street, but I'm not too sure that still stands today. Okay. So we're also heading towards Falmouth's only department store. And it's basically every foot along the aisle is a new department. It's a bit of a running joke that you can find everything you want in one aisle, and I'm going to link up to the top right now to the Cornish Sesame Street, which plays on this joke. So anyway, the shop itself is called Trago Mills, and yeah, as I say, it's a bit of a long running joke for decades that you can find anything you want. Actually, you know what, let's go in there. Okay, before we go into Trago's, let's go down this hill for a second. So this is my favourite pub down here. This is the Chain Locker. There's a bit of an iconic view that's to be had here. If you ever see a picture or a photo or anything of Falmouth, it will be this pub. Sorry. So we're just coming out the other side of the pub tunnel. So this is the door to the Chain Locker, and we'll see it in its glory from over here in a second. Yeah, so we're just going to walk out to there where the food dude is, and look back, and you'll see what I mean. Every photo or picture that you ever buy in any art gallery of Falmouth is going to be of this view that's coming up. Yeah, so here's the food dude. He's been here for a few years now. There's a juvenile seagull. As you can see, they're not small round here, they're actually very, very large. And that there is the back of the Chain Locker. Nearly every print that you get in any art gallery that has a picture of Falmouth, this is what you're looking at. This bay in the harbour at that pub. Just next to it, that big white building, that's the Quayside Inn. That's been around for a long, long time as well. Okay, that's the back of the department store, Trago Mills, so we're going to go there next. Okay, so just coming back up to the high street again. This here is the Harbour Lights fish and chip shop. One of the best in town, if not in the country. Very, very hard to beat, these guys. There we go, so this is Trago. Yeah, so this is going to be an assault on the eyeballs. You get everything in every aisle. Alright, thanks. Yeah, because chocolate and toilet rolls go together. Still just as bad as it used to be. Pets. Yeah, okay, let's just get out. So this now is the front car park in front of the National Maritime Museum. There's just sort of shops and things on this side. Lots and lots of old chains and anchors. This is the main slip where the boats come down into the harbour. So this long building here that starts here and goes to here, that many years ago used to be the Navy, and so that's where Dad signed up and where he was also based for a little while when he was at Falmouth Harbour. And yeah, these days it's the Falmouth Water Sports Centre, but that's yeah, that's where the Navy used to be. As you can see out there, there's still a couple of Navy boats. On the left we've got the Argus, on the right we've got the Tide Force. They're both RFA, so Royal Fleet Auxiliary. And yeah, let's take a walk out here. Okay, so that there is the National Maritime Museum in Falmouth. That's the docks where my grandfather used to work. And then back there is the main part of the town. You can see here is the chain locker. You can see here, that's the Prince of Wales Pier. Over the other side you can see Flushing, where we were yesterday. And yeah, it's a nice old place. So let's take a walk up to the docks. Just out the front of the National Maritime Museum. I can't remember what all that is. I need to go and check that out. Just thinking, one of the pubs down there used to be run by a SAS guy. Yeah, he used to take absolutely no crap from anybody. Okay, let's go in here and have a look here. I don't see anything written on it. Is there anything on this side? No. So there's nothing on this side. There's nothing on this side, there's nothing on the other two sides because I just walked past them. Oh, okay, here we go, the Killigrew Monument. Okay, originally built in the Grove near Arwenack, 1737 to 1738, by the son-in-law of the last Sir Peter Killigrew and sometime recorder of Falmouth to commemorate the last of the Killigrew family. Okay, so the main high street, the moor that came off of it, is on what's called Killigrew Street. So it says in 1836 it was taken down and rebuilt near here, Lansdowne House, which is that over there, and it was re-erected in 1871. So there we go. So it's a family monument to the Killigrews. Going to walk up the hill now to the docks. I always love how colourful things are in Falmouth. Okay, have you spotted the googly eyes? There they are. Can you see them? Googly! You can always tell when you're getting close to the docks. There's like a sound of a steam hammer. It will start up again in a minute, but they've been smashing steel plates. Oh, there it goes again. Yeah, they've been doing that for years. Walking up these hills never gets any easier. Okay, so now we're gonna just walk up to the side of the docks here. Okay, we're almost up the hill. There was old World War II stuff up there years ago. It seems like they've knocked it all down now. Probably going to redevelop it into houses for the rich. Here we go, docks coming into view now. Whoops. Okay, so this here is the main dry dock, and this is one of two. The other one's just over to the left. I'll show you in a second, but you can see here they've got Barge Atlantis in. So this is where my granddad, he used to work here. Now you got the mega rich have their yachts built there, and then the bigger commercial ships get their stuff done here. And yeah, so when my grandfather in the 80s was laid off from here, he was a welder. When they laid him off, he went to work for Falmouth Polytechnic College as the caretaker. Kind of an end of an era when that happened, but you can just see behind here a couple of tall masts sticking out. I'll just zoom in over there for a little bit. You can just see them just poking out here. So Yeah, that's what happened in this spot. Again, it's funny coming back here because I remember we used to go and meet him at the gates when I was like 5 years old. There'd be like 200 men come rushing out. My granddad would be one of them. He always had a smile on his face. It didn't matter if he had a good day or a bad day, he would always be smiling. One of the big things I always remember is that. So as you can see, there's still some people walking around. We're getting close to 4:30 when the alarms go off to signal that it's time to finish up for the day. And you can see in the background there the RFA Argus, and over on the left is the RFA Tide Force, the Royal Fleet Auxiliary ships. Okay, time to head back down. You can just see the second bay right there, that's the second dry dock. Alright, let's go.
There is.
I'm sensing it's not quite as quality as the one that you use in the Heart of Lights, is that true?
I am having a little wrestle here with the fish.